Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'm going to be changing some tubes on my Fender Deville. My power tubes are acting kind of weird. Been a long time, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those changed. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through that. Now, I have a bunch of extra tubes that I've collected over the years. I'm not 100% sure which ones work, and honestly, I'm on a budget right now, so I can't really be going to buy new tubes. So I'm just gonna try and search for the best possible tubes that I have around and hope for the best. I wouldn't recommend doing this. Sometimes you'll get lucky if you collect a bunch of extra tubes like I do. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Robert Saldana. I fix amplifiers, guitar pedals, mods. I pretty much do anything having to do with electronics. I've been doing this for quite some time now, and I'm building up this channel. We're close to 100 subscribers, so make sure and click on subscribe if you like this content. Drop a comment below on some of the best things that you guys have worked on, some of the amplifiers or maybe pedal mods that you guys do. And don't forget to stomp that like button. Let's go ahead and get started. So in order to make sure that I don't pop in a tube that is shorted, I need to make sure that there's nothing shorted in here. So what I'm going to use is my trusty meter, a couple of alligator clips, actually just one alligator clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this alligator clip to ground on my meter, and then I'm going to clip this end. So the first one I'm going to connect it to is pin 2. Some tubes are labeled. This is a 6L6 electron tube. It says made in China. It's probably not the best tube to use, but we're going to try it out anyway. This is just an example. I'm going to put this on pin 2, and if I connect this to pin 7, I should be getting current, and I'm not. So this one's probably a bad tube. I'm glad this happened on the first try. Let me try the other one. Pin 2, pin 7. That's what should happen. Even then, it does not sound good. I'm getting resistance. Very little, but not enough for me to pop these in. So I don't like these tubes. Just automatically by checking that, I should have full continuity. I'm going to try another set of tubes. Okay, so now I have a pair of rubies. I'm not sure how old these are. They look fairly used. But let's try them out. The first thing I want to do is make sure that pin 2 and pin 7 are getting continuity. So you should see a little diagram on the screen, and pin 2 and pin 7, I'm going to connect my alligator clip on one end, connect this to pin 7 or pin 2, either one, and then touch the other one, make sure the meter's on, make sure it's on continuity, and I should have continuity. Make sure your alligator clip is connected correctly, and there we go. Good. Now I also want to make sure that I don't have continuity on anything else, otherwise this tube is shorted. So I'm going to check 7 and 8. We're good. I've already checked 7 and 2. That one's good. That's what I want. I want continuity on 7 and 2. 3, nothing. 4, nothing. And 5, nothing. So everything else looks good. But I also want to make sure there's no continuity on anything else. So I'm going to move this to 8. And then check 2, nothing. 3, 4, 5. And just double check 7 one more time. We're good. So I'm pretty much just going to go around. Now this is 2, so when I hit 7, it should have continuity. We're good. We're good. We're good. And then the last one. Okay, so this tube is not shorted. So I'm very happy to plug this tube in, and I shouldn't blow anything. Doesn't mean it's going to work 100%, but this is going to be my next bet compared to what's on my amp right now. So I'm going to check this one out and pretty much do the same thing. 7 and 2, and I'm going to just fly by this. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Now it's on pin 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. That's supposed to happen. 8, nothing. Okay, so these tubes look like they're good to go. I'm going to pop them in, bias my amp. We're gonna see what happens. I took off the back panel. I'm exposed to everything. Disclaimer, if you're not 100% sure on what to do, don't do it. I've been doing this for a while, so I know what not to touch. Pretty much these battery looking things are capacitors. These things can probably kill you, so don't touch those. Even though they may be discharged, they may not be, and there's a lot of voltage going through those, and a lot of amps, by the way, and the amps is what kills you, not the voltage. It's perfectly safe to touch the tubes. You don't have to be scared of those. It's just all the other stuff that it's connected to, yeah, I would be very worried. I've worked on this amp before. Actually, I brought this amp back to life. My cousin, thank you Mark, was going to throw this away. He gave it to me. It was all in pieces. I ended up fixing it up. I put new speakers in. You know, I've been using this for quite some time. I think over 5 years I've had this amp. Maybe longer, maybe 6, 7 years. I don't remember exactly when I picked it up. But you might see some weird solder points. It's because I didn't really master soldering until later on. So these are my two tubes. They're not even matching, which is probably why it sounds kind of weird. And I probably popped this in right before a show and I didn't have a similar tube. So I use this just to get through that one show. First thing is I'm gonna pop these guys out. I'm gonna make sure that I look at the orientation of those. And after that, I'm gonna turn it on and I'll show you guys how to bias these amps. Right now the amp is not plugged in, so I'm 100% safe. So there's these two metal pins that kind of hold the tube in. I'm pushing them up as I'm pulling the tube down. Notice how I'm holding the chassis only, which is ground. Look at that. The plastic broke off. That is crazy. So yeah, it's been a while. So it looks like the center notch is that way. So when I pop the other ones in, I need to make sure and put them in that way. I'm gonna look under and double check. Yeah, the notch, there's a notch on the tubes. There's a notch on the tubes, and it's very important when you put them in. So this tube's gonna go with the notch towards the speakers, and it's gonna go up. This one's actually a Russian tube. Okay, the notch is here. I'm gonna pop it in. You can hold the metal pins up and slide it in and make sure it goes all the way up, and don't overly force it, because if you're forcing it too hard, maybe you don't have that notch in correctly. It should click. Like right now I have it a little bit off, and I'm going to rotate it just a bit. See how you heard that click sound? That means that the notch went in. So now that I'm there, I'm going to push the pins up. It should easily come in. I usually kind of like roll it in. Be careful, otherwise you're going to break something, right? That was probably already broken, when I was moving around, and probably why I was getting weird sounds. Maybe it wasn't locked in all the way correctly. Not sure, but either case, I have some new tubes. They're rubies. Rubies are good. All right, so right now I went ahead and just put one tube in because I wanted to know what the bias was on this without adjusting anything. I want to make sure they're even. My black pin is connected over here to ground. And then with the bias test point, it's right here on these Hot Rod amps. So I'm going to turn this on, and you can see this one's at 21.2. So it should be at 30, but it's probably not biased correctly. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to pop this one in. And check the same thing. Now I want them as close as possible. These are the only two tubes I have, but if one is way off, then we're gonna have a problem. So yeah, we're 21, 22. Yeah, these look pretty good. They're pretty close. 23, and we're floating around there. I'm happy with these two tubes. They're close enough for me. You want to buy some tubes that are matched. All right, so in order to bias this amp, we're gonna need to do a little bit of math. The first thing we need to do is we're gonna check voltage on the plate, which is gonna be pin 3 on these tubes. So if the notch is at 12 o'clock, then at about 1 o'clock is gonna be pin 1, which doesn't exist. And then pin 2 is about 2.5. And then a little bit past 3 o'clock is the plate. So we're gonna check that voltage. And then once we do that, these tubes are 6L6s. So what we're gonna do is we're going to divide 25, because these are 25 watt tubes each. So 25 watts divided by whatever number we get on the plate. Probably going to be close to 480 to 490. And then once we get that number, then we want to be at 70%. So we're going to multiply that times 0.7. That'll give us 70%. So it'll be somewhere between 30 and 35, maybe higher. And then after that, since we have 2 of these in this Hot Rod Deville, yes, it's a Hot Rod Deville. It's my favorite amp ever. That will probably push us to double that. So I'm assuming somewhere around 60 to 75 at the most. Really depends on what is on that plate. I'll put a diagram somewhere around right here for some math, for the formula. Anybody can do this. It's just a matter of being careful when you're inside the amplifier checking voltages. That's really the most dangerous part. All right, so the first thing I need to do is check the plate, which is pin 3. And I'm going to move my meter to 1000 volts, check pin 3, and I'm getting 488, 487. I'm going to go with 488. And what I'm going to do is bust out my calculator, and I'm going to divide 25 divided by 488 equals 51.2. I'm going to multiply that times 0.7 times 0.7, because they're supposed to be around 70%, equals 35.8. That's each tube. Since I have 2, I'm going to multiply that times 2 equals 71.7. That's how hot I should be running these. All right, so it looks like I was kind of around that point. My math for my amplifier is right here. And I'm looking for 71.7 millivolts. Let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, so I'm going to move this to millivolts. I'm going to move this to my test point. I'm at 54 right now. I'm going to go to 65. I'm going to go slow. I'm fine about there. 65, 66. And I'm going to wait about 10 minutes because I want to make sure that these guys are biased correctly when they're hot. All right, so I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 12 minutes. And I'm going to check my bias point, and hopefully I'm kind of close to where I want. It actually stayed close to where it was. It increased just a little bit. Now I need to be going to 71, I believe. Let me just double check my calculator. Yeah, I'm going to 71.7. So let's go. Let's do it all the way. 71.7, 66, 70 there. Slow. That thing just skyrocketed. I'm going to move it down just a tad. It's not going to really be exact. I'm happy with that. 71.567. Sure, why not? Let's go. Let's do this. So I'm happy. I'm done. I'm going to run some guitar through this, sniff it, and make sure it's not overheating. And I think we are good to go. And I'm playing out of a Fender Mustang into my Fender Deville. Increase the volume. I'm just happy that I have sound and it sounds good. I don't have any weird noises. The most important thing is that I check this. I would check this on a weekly basis just to double check to make sure that, you know, one of the tubes doesn't overpower the other. I don't want to, you know, burn anything out. It's not going to happen overnight. If it does burn out, it's going to happen over time. So it's important that you know, take care of your amps. Take care of them. They're your babies, right? These guys produce your sound for you, and if you don't take care of them, you're gonna have problems. thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure and subscribe, as I'll be pushing some more content. I'll be doing some more amplifier mods, pedal mods, and pretty much anything that I find interesting at this point in time. If you guys have any suggestions or want to see me doing something, make sure and leave a comment below and I'll see what I could do. And make sure and stomp that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.